Chapter 15. The word received thus far recognizes. Because truth was there, he comes. The resurrected person can meet the Lord of the second coming. This is the person whose shut grave has opened. The person who overcame disobedience and rose in obedience is the resurrected person. If a grave should open, the Spirit of heaven must rest upon the life inside that person's spirit. With God's truth, the Spirit of heaven must pull up the life inside me so that I resurrect from the grave. The person whose grave has opened, the person who resurrected, faces the second coming. The second coming is to wear New Jerusalem. If the inside of my spirit becomes new by the word, God makes the outside new as well. Jesus is someone who has perfectly fulfilled the law and the gospel. He comes again to resurrect truth from inside me. Jesus fulfilled perfection by resurrection. Heaven and earth met. God's perfect plan rested inside of Jesus, and because God's perfect plan of the beginning and the end was inside Jesus, God resurrected him. Since truth was inside of Jesus, God had come. He perfectly overcame the power of death. In this era, because I am also confined in death, the one who overcame the power of death, truth inside Jesus, God, must come so that I can resurrect from the grave. When he comes as the word opened in the Spirit, the lives inside our spirits arise. At the time of the first coming, he came to resolve sin. But at the time of the second coming, he comes to receive glory from the person who is resurrected by truth. He comes to the person who has nothing to do with sin. The word received thus far recognizes. His coming is new heaven and new earth. Because the Jewish people waited for the Messiah, for them, Jesus' coming was the second coming. However, because the Messiah did not come according to their methods, he was rejected. Even though the Messiah came and was moving and traveling, they could not recognize him. Even now, Christians wait for the second coming. But the situation of him being rejected will arise in the same way as that era. The Samaritan woman recognized the one for whom she waited, the Messiah, and she threw away all the 5 husbands she had. Jesus told her that the husband she had now was also not her husband. So she even threw away her water jar. The 5 husbands were not husbands in the flesh that can be seen. Her husband was the law that the woman had with her. She hurled away the law and received the Messiah. The woman drawing water from Jacob's well was her drinking and eating the law. And it was her waiting for the Messiah from inside the law. Spiritually, the well refers to church. Through water that could be drunk, the woman recognized the Messiah during her dialogue with Jesus. It was not that she recognized the outer appearance of Jesus, but she recognized through the water that was inside of Jesus. That is why, on that spot, she exchanged her water for the water Jesus gave her. For the Samaritan woman, this is new heaven and new earth. This woman threw away the first heaven and first earth. For her, the Messiah is New Jerusalem. Starting from that time, she became a true disciple of Jesus. After she covered herself with the word, the horn was blown, and many people came back to Jesus. If I saw the word literally, how could I understand the dialogue between Jesus and this woman? He said in John 4:14, "Whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst." What kind of water could have been given to her? If it were water that can be seen, why did she throw away her water jar? Are the 5 husbands that can be seen? He said in John 6:63, "The words that I have spoken to you are spirit and life. If I know the word only in the flesh, my spirit dies." The woman ate and drank the law, and Jesus went inside her spirit as the water of life that never allows a person to thirst. The Messiah was not the outer appearance of Jesus. When Jesus went in search of the woman, she received him through dialogue between water and water. Although he came as flesh, truth appeared from inside him. The woman's water and Jesus' water met. Jesus had water with him, and the woman had water with her. The woman had with her water that could be seen, and Jesus had with him water that could not be seen. Jesus hurled away the water that could be seen and put water that could not be seen into the woman. Through what kind of situation would his second coming come? Surely he will appear at the side of a well. Now, the side of a well is the church that waits for the second coming. Just as the woman's water and Jesus' water were exchanged, his water and the water I consume will be exchanged. At the time of his second coming, there will be dialogue through the word, and the word that I have been consuming in the meantime will be exchanged for the word that he opens again. The second coming is not something that I recognize with the eyes of my flesh. The word inside of me, the word I had received in the meantime, recognizes. When the Samaritan woman recognized Jesus the Messiah, she did not recognize with the eyes of her flesh. She recognized in the dialogue between water and water. She recognized by the word that was filled inside her. The reason the Samaritan woman could understand Jesus was that she had the 5 husbands. The 5 husbands are part of the law. They are the 5 laws of the earth. The water jar she had on top of her head is the law of heaven. By the Messiah coming into her spirit, she threw them all away. To meet him, the Spirit's stir must rest. God's love is agape love. It is the love of the Father that sent the only Son to this earth. Jesus was whipped, nailed, speared, and his whole body was torn. He spilled all blood and water toward this earth. I have received God's agape love, which was love that put out the only Son on this earth. If I want to follow the path of the cross and meet the Lord of the second coming, in what way would I go that path? His blood and water spilled by God's agape love rest inside me, so I must carefully see the acts of Jesus. Inside the cross are the love of God and the obedience of Jesus. The time has come for such love and obedience to appear and be revealed from inside me. Because God's command is a law, I must absolutely keep it. When a command falls, it is difficult to keep it with my own strength. This is because God is a divine spirit and I am a human. How could a human being obey the sounds of a divine being? And so, the one who entered me to help me obey is the Counselor and Holy Spirit. So that I can go on the path I could not go, the Holy Spirit is the one who, by the stir, puts out a bridge for me. If I do not have the Holy Spirit's stir, I could not go on this path. If the Holy Spirit did not rest upon Mark's upper room, the disciples would have been people who failed. They followed Jesus for 3 years, but there was also a person like Peter who stood in the way of his path. Even though Jesus said in Mark 14:28, "After I am raised up, I will go before you to Galilee," the disciples forgot about these words and went their separate ways back to their homes. Yet, after they received the Holy Spirit at Mark's upper room, they were able to follow Jesus until the end. Only then they became witnesses of Christ. Becoming Jesus' best disciple was possible because of the Spirit's stir. In this era, if I cannot receive the Spirit's stir, I cannot meet the second coming. The second coming is when the Divine Spirit rests upon this earth. The Divine Spirit's stir must rest inside me so that I can be face to face with God. Secret meets secret from inside my spirit. At the time of the first coming, those who saw Jesus merely as a human all departed. Those whose truth from inside their spirits met truth coming out of his mouth were the ones who became disciples. I must also meet God as the Word of truth. If I am going to meet God, who is the Word, then the Word must be filled inside me. The Holy Spirit, who helps me receive the Word with the stir, must be present so that I can unite with the Word that falls inside me. The stir of divinity must rest inside me. When the Word falls inside me, I am able to receive with stirring in my heart. If I do not have the stir, the Word becomes stored only as knowledge, and I end up standing in a place of arrogance that goes ahead of God's truth. Because the disciples had the stir, they were able to give up their lives and become martyrs. The stir of divinity is Spirit, who allows me to give up even my life. Without the Spirit's stir, I cannot recognize the Lord of the second coming. Jesus said, "The words that I have spoken to you are spirit." And I must receive the word in the Spirit in order to meet God. How could I meet God, who is Spirit, if I receive the word in the flesh?